A quick heads up. We are getting into some potentially triggering content today regarding CSA. So please be mindful while watching.
We watched Michael Jackson, The Verdict, a 3-part documentary on Netflix that re-examines the 2005 Michael Jackson criminal trial.
We break down our thoughts and opinions on how the documentary unfolds and give our perspectives on the content shown in the doc.
All that and more on a bonus episode of the Black and Snurdy podcast.
Adam has arrived.
Hey, Maurice and Odie gonna take over like Zach and Cody. Black and Snurdy is the best podcast. Gonna boom like Wile E. Coyote. Gonna make matches they move like they hairy. Ain't talking about mental health. No, it's not scary. Ain't notice she coming up with the astrology. Mo got a comic and that's the best policy. Maurice the goat, talking about animation cause you know. Odie she moving wavy like the boat. Watching some movies and she taking notes. Yeah, kick back, listen. Black and Snurdy have risen. Upload on a mission. 5 stars, never dissing. Black and Snurdy, ooh. Black and Snurdy, yeah. Black and Snurdy.
Hello and welcome to another bonus episode of the Black and Snurdy podcast, the only podcast where two sexy black nerds get together to shoot the shit. I am Mo, aka Kid Licorish.
And I'm Odie.
And together we are the aforementioned Snurds here on a bonus episode of the Black and Snurdy podcast. How are you doing today?
I'm feeling real black because I'm Foxy Cleopatra and I'm a whole lot of woman.
You know what? You are a whole lot of woman.
Thank you.
You're every woman. It's all in you.
I'm feeling pretty good.
That's good.
The weeks are getting shorter.
Mm-hmm.
Work is dwindling down.
Mm-hmm.
My birthday is coming up.
Sure.
1 week from today.
Sure.
Minus 7 days.
Sure.
I'm available to be sent all Cash Apps, Venmos, and Zells.
Sure.
PayPals, whatever you want. You know, it's all great.
For anybody, man or woman, and everything in between, who are looking to trick on Odie, she is opening herself up to it.
Yep.
She is open to gifts. She is open to trips. She is open to, would you say, certain physical favors?
Like cleaning my apartment. That was it.
Sure. Yes.
It ain't tricking if you got it.
Yes, it ain't tricking if you got it. So if y'all have it, she wants it. She wants it. She wants it.
You gotta give it to me.
Yes, exactly.
Also, sorry, but this is our second episode in June, and there's one thing that I have not said.
Happy Pride?
Happy Pride!
Nope. Happy Pride, everybody.
We have been
Ride or die doing Pride.
all right.
Yeah, it is, of course, Pride Month. You know, celebrating all the alphabet letters that exist, all shades and stripes.
I love June. Okay, not only because it's my birthday,
Mm-hmm.
but it's Pride.
Mm-hmm.
It's Juneteenth,
Mm-hmm.
and Black Music History Month, and Caribbean Heritage Month. So it's a very blackity black time because you would not have Pride if it weren't for Black queers.
Sure.
So,
I could make an argument that June should be Black History Month as opposed to February.
I would agree.
I mean, one, it's the kickoff of summer.
Yes,
We are people who love to be outside.
we do. We love to throw something on the grill.
We love to, play dominoes and spades, on the patio
Yep.
while listening to, Outstanding.
Yep.
I'm trying to think of some more.
Sounds of Blackness.
Yes, and roasting the person who decided to bring that weak ass potato salad
With raisins.
to the fucking function.
They put too much celery and mustard.
Yeah, or
Did
if
not look good.
they're of a certain ilk, they might put some bullshit like raisins in the potato salad. What's that? What's that even? What is even that?
I thought about it,
Mhm.
and I think it's because there are some like fruit-based salads that some people think that it's like you can just throw them in anywhere. Because there are salads you could put a raisin in. But a potato salad is not one of them.
Potato salad is never one of them.
It's never one of them. But just because it's a salad doesn't mean
if
you add fruits.
If your special ingredient in any sort of casserole or salad of any kind is raisins.
Yeah, but I mean, like, you have like a strawberry, whatever type of salad. What is it?
Why would I want raisins in a strawberry salad?
I don't know, but I'm just saying sometimes a fruit can add to the experience. But that's not true with potatoes.
I don't consider raisins to be a fruit that enhances anything.
I mean, I like Raisin Bran Crunch.
Ugh, you poor child. You poor child.
Raisin Bran Crunch?
No.
How are you doing this week?
I'm doing well until I heard what you just said about eating Raisin Bran Crunch as a child.
Raisin Bran Crunch is delicious. It's a lot of fiber. You have those sweet crunchies.
As a kid, what I look for in a cereal is the content of fiber.
Listen, my mom didn't let us get, like, the fun cereals.
Sure.
So I found, because when original Raisin Bran, we used to have it all the time. I was like, hate it.
Odie's mom.
It was all this healthy stuff.
You created this.
But when Raisin Bran
just
Crunch
want you to know
came
that
around, I was like, amazing.
No.
Delicious.
You were the only one.
I love it.
You are a minority in a minority in a minority. So.
All right, you're doing well. What other updates?
I have some potentially good news coming up in the next week or so. So we shall see. I will keep everybody update as far as what goes on in my realm of the woods. But for now, I'm going to keep my cards close to the vest, which is not the saying. It's close to the chest, but they said it a bunch of times in the second Batman movie with Christian Bale. So I guess somebody in the writing room thought, oh yeah, this is a normal saying, but it doesn't even matter. What we are here to do is to discuss what we've watched recently. And for that, we need to take our asses on down to Watch Out Now.
Down the road.
Watch Out Now. Yeah. Yes, Watch Out Now is the sometimes bonus episodes that we do in which we talk about something that we've recently watched, a piece of media, some music, or what have you. And recently, we just watched, as we said at the top of the episode, the Netflix documentary, the 3-part documentary, Michael Jackson, The Verdict.
The Verdict.
Dum dum.
It's a very dramatic title.
It is.
It's a dramatic title. It's like, we have to talk about what happened.
So, without getting a rating, because we'll end on that, what were your initial thoughts having watched the documentary? Or, if you want, you could give your thoughts as you watch the documentary. I leave it up to you, my friend.
In general, my thoughts were, there were plenty of things. Like, one, I remember watching the whole trial and everything as it transpired.
Mm-hmm.
I remember watching the Living with Michael with Martin Bashir interview and all that.
Mm-hmm.
I think that watching it from this perspective and just time and all that we know and etc., I do feel like maybe I have a different position about his guilt or his alleged guilt. There's a lot more things that come into play, I think. Overall, I think it's just really sad that someone who was so talented and had all this like life to give and life to live, for whatever reasons, led them down a path where they would even be in a situation where they could be accused of something this horrible.
Sure.
And my hearts are also with the people who were accused, and because even if whether or not
the people who were accused,
the people who were accusing him, the victim, alleged victims, because it's either a situation where you were physically abused by this man and never got justice, or it's a situation where your parents were coercing you to say you were abused, which is a different type of trauma. That's
its own thing.
So I think it's just, in general, it's just a very sad situation all involved, especially for the kids who were dealing with the kids, now adults, dealing with the aftermath.
Sure.
I think that the documentary in general, there were some things that could have been better.
Mm-hmm. Like what?
I think like you had mentioned at one point that we weren't getting a very like balanced look into things because they were having so many people who were on the side of like Michael's guilty.
Mm-hmm.
And so I do think maybe it's either they couldn't find people that went with that agreed that he was innocent, or maybe there were just way more people who were like, no, he definitely did it, and that's why they agreed to get into the doc. But I would have liked to see a little bit more of a balanced perspective. We didn't get that. I wanted to see maybe some more people from the prosecution or something along those lines. I'm not sure. I would have loved if they would have got an interview with like Wade Robinson or what's the other one's name? Jeff something from Leaving Neverland.
From the other documentary.
The one that got pulled. I would have liked to see him, but in general, I thought that they did a pretty good job delving into the story. We got a lot of perspective that we didn't get before. Although one thing, they never mentioned Leaving Neverland. I think they should have done that, because even though their focus was on the verdict, I think that it would have been good to at least mention when they talked about Wade Robinson that, like, in 2019, Wade Robinson put out this documentary.
I mean, I think maybe for like logistic reasons they couldn't probably mention it. One, because as you said, this documentary was focusing more on the actual trial, the 2005 trial.
Yeah.
And then second, I don't know who owns Leaving Neverland now, especially since it was like immediately pulled. Yeah. I don't even know if that is something that can even be discussed in a doc. You know what I mean?
But
I don't know the legality behind Leaving Neverland.
I think that even if, not saying they had to show clips of it or anything, but like at the end, like when they run those little captions of like where things are now, just putting it in there like,
oh, there was another documentary that
Wade Robinson recanted his testimony in X time, and in this documentary that's now been pulled.
I would say that this documentary didn't even really focus that much on Wade Robinson.
No, it didn't. I'm saying
I feel like it was like a blinking you miss it. He was,
but I think that
there,
when the way that they discussed Wade Robinson within the parameters of the case was that he was this kind of bombshell testimony, because initially the prosecution wanted him, and then the defense was able to get him to talk about how much, nothing ever happened, how much he loved Michael and their relationship, etc. So I think if you're going to include him, you should also include like that he recanted what he said, because I think that is still, whether or not that has any bearing on his previous testimony, knowing that he did recant it, I think is still important for the viewers to know. Just because this is obviously something we're never going to get the truth about 100%. So I think adding that little piece of information is important.
I see. Yeah.
What did you think about it?
My initial thoughts on viewing Michael Jackson's The Verdict, I gotta say, I left feeling like no new information was provided.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like nothing was sort of unearthed, or there wasn't like more perspective. Mm-hmm. I think at best, maybe the director of security for Michael Jackson had some insight as to what was going on, the night before that one when he went to the hospital and how he was driving around and how Michael was acting. Maybe. I don't know if I've ever seen any sort of interviews specifically with that guy, but just in general, this documentary just kind of felt pointless. You know what I mean?
It's one of those things where this is a situation that has been unpacked so many different times over the years.
Yeah.
That
there's not like a new angle to this or an unearthed information.
I think
they didn't even go into the courtroom.
I think that it's the interesting part is that we get to hear from his lawyers, different people who were in his life, whether they were agreeing or not agreeing with him, etc. Like those parts, like it's information. I think that people love a little bit of chisme, a little bit of gossip. So people sharing things that maybe they didn't hear before. Everyone's going to love that. But did it illuminate anything about Michael Jackson or the case? No, because it's the same things that we all heard.
Yeah, exactly.
If you were around during that time, I don't think it's going to be that much. It's not shining a light on anything.
So then that brings me to my question of like, what's the point of this at all? You know what I mean?
Well,
like okay, here's my feeling on this coming out of having watched this 3-hour documentary. One, because there was no new information and barely any new perspectives on the actual trial, my question is, what was the point of this documentary being made and then coming out when it did? Like, it feels like we're retreading ground and not like adding additional context. We're not adding any additional information. We're not illuminating anything. Mm-hmm. We're literally just beating a dead fucking horse.
I do think that the reason why they probably put it out now is because of the Michael movie.
Which brings me to my second point with this. Like, why would this come out so close to the Michael Jackson biopic?
Well, I think it's like, here's the thing. I think that when we talk about celebrities who have had any kind of accusations of abuse,
any sort of controversy of some kind, yeah.
Like Michael Jackson, outside of all of these people, for a lot of folks, Michael Jackson is that one person they still cannot wrap their head around. Like, they can put R. Kelly in a certain perspective. They can put, Harvey Weinstein, Bill Cosby, various people who have had any kind of allegations. It's very simple to see. That's like, it's cut and dry. Like, nobody wants to listen to Diddy anymore. Like, we watched that documentary and we were like, it didn't illuminate anything, but like, yeah, we hate him anyway because of all the stuff he's done. But with Michael, he has, for whatever reason, like, he has a certain place in people's hearts where it's harder for them to look past anything that anyone has alleged that he's done. And I think that with the coming out of this recent movie, the biopic, is that people were asking the question, why is this movie coming out about him when we have all these things that have been alleged? And we are we giving a pass to Michael, even though we have all of these alleged allegations that for other celebrities has burned their legacy within the culture?
Okay, and in that perspective, maybe I could understand that, but there's not a consistency with it. It doesn't seem like there is any sort of consistency to hold this standard for all celebrities with certain, track records that come to light. You know what I mean? Or certain controversies, I should say. Well, my example, I would say, somebody who I guess would be of a similar caliber in the cultural icon sort of space and music, at least, Elvis Presley. Mm-hmm. Why don't we hold Elvis Presley with the same sort of regard of the good and the bad, or the sort of acknowledging what he did for music while also holding the feet to the fire to his controversies? Like, didn't he marry like an underage girl of some kind?
When what's her name, Marie Presley, when they got married, she was 14.
Yeah,
I believe she was 14 or 15.
And that's a known thing. That's like a legit known thing. So like when they made the Elvis biopic, my bad. Well, when they made the Elvis biopic, I didn't see anybody following it up with the documentary showing like, oh yeah, you're a 14-year-old girl, shake, rattle, and roll. And when I say rattle, I mean rattle. Toy for a child. I don't know. Like, I couldn't think of anything.
I think that, okay, I think there's several things that play into a part. Well, there's several. There's more than one. One, I do believe that Michael's being black has caused, it's changed the trajectory. As Joe Jackson said, there's racism.
Yeah, there, Joe Jackson, who wasn't in the doc, but he was, his archival footage was in the doc.
There's some racism.
Yes.
That occurs with Michael. On top of him, just like the idea that he was the king of pop, being the largest musician, celebrity,
period, point blank
history.
Yeah.
I think that there's those parts. And then I think there's also the piece about the conflict that we have as a society and a culture when it comes to him, because we both, the culture loves Michael and hates Michael at the same time. And I think that every time he is brought up, it's going to be another wave of like, did he do it? What happened? And they're going to go deeper. But I think that there's, various things that fall into play that make him seem like more of an interesting, like figurehead, when in reality, like his music's amazing, right?
Yes.
We can't deny that.
Absolutely.
But the fervor about what he did or didn't do, I don't find that as interesting unless we are talking about how the fact that his fame may have caused him to never get justice he deserved, or that his fame caused him to be in these situations that were just people trying to get at him. It's always going to be that controversy. It's always going to be that question. Nobody is going to have a verifiable 100% fact. We don't have video. We don't have anything besides what people have said, what they didn't say, what they went back and forth on in testimonies, etc. Like, we're never going to know the truth, and I think that bothers people.
And here's where it sort of upsets me, or I will say annoy me, right? For a little bit of context, growing up, much like you, I'm sure, huge Michael Jackson fan.
Yeah, for sure.
I wasn't like the biggest fan as far as like the people in the documentary who were, quitting their, one lady in there, she literally quit her job and moved to the state,
Santa Clara or whatever.
Yeah, to attend the trial, and she was lucky enough to be one of the people who got to go into the courtroom and watch the actual trial go on, to the point where, like, when the verdict came out, like, she fainted and needed to be rushed to the hospital or stretchered out and shit. I was never that type of fan. I'm not that type of MJ fan, but I have a deep appreciation for his music. I recognize his talent. I recognize that he was a talented, gifted musical artist, legend. Okay. Right. So when I sort of hear this sort of breakdown of like, oh, because he's this controversial figure with these things in his back pocket, and people, will always have like this sort of fervor for, wanting to figure out what was going on. And yeah, I say that, and then I raise you the fucking Epstein files. We're literally in a world right now where motherfuckers in actual seats of power who are running the world, who are literally billionaires and millionaires in seats of power in the government, are fucking doing things on a list, on an island. But somehow we've got to talk about Michael Jackson's trial. Ooh, the dude who fucking moonwalked and got his hair fucking fired on the Pepsi commercial. Let's dig his ass up and discuss whether or not he did what he may have done or didn't do, what he may not have done. Let's figure that out and let's try to piece that shit together. That's what I don't understand. That's what annoys the shit out of me. We literally have PDF files in seats of power running around in 2026 when we're recording this episode right now.
On the way to New York.
About to come to fucking New York.
to see
the fucking Knicks play. There's no illusion as to who I'm talking about. Because that's so known. But instead, let's dedicate time to go over a fucking thing that happened. Like a trial that, what was it, 2005 that trial happened? It's 2026, 20 fucking years ago. Like, what the fuck are we doing? What are we doing? What are we doing? It doesn't make sense to me that you could be like, oh, you know, he's such an icon and, you know, it was so devastating and shit and have all these people, you know, talking about that. And then when it comes to the actual people running around doing these types of things in power who are breathing and who could be trialed and who should be held accountable, for everybody else, it's
nobody cares. Nobody cares.
But I think that American media, American news media and entertainment, etc., it is all a red herring. You know, like you put something out there to distract from the other things so that people are paying attention to what actually doesn't matter. Like in the case of Michael Jackson, the only people that matter are the people who may have been victimized. That's all that matters. Unless these people, like, we never see them in these documentaries talking. So assumably they're not getting any sort of royalties or anything like that. They are off living their life. And then every 10 years or so, their name gets brought up in one of these documentaries. They have to see all of their alleged trauma being rebroadcast, debated, and having people to say whether they're liars or not, et cetera, et cetera. And it's unfortunate. And that I think is the bigger problem because like you said, Michael Jackson is no longer alive. So it does not matter if there's any bombshell things that come out. He is not going to be impacted. The only people who are going to be impacted are the kids and their families, where people are going to try to go find them, go and talk to them, ask them new questions. And that's the part that's shitty because we're wasting time on talking about something that has been litigated in the court of public opinion 1,000,001 times. We're never going to get a straight answer. And these documentaries, they're just messy. That's just what it is. Just mess.
Yeah.
You know, like on one hand, while I was watching it, I was thinking how different is my reaction to this documentary compared to the Diddy doc. Because with that one, I was like, oh yeah, this just completely 100% validates everything that I felt like happened, right? But the difference with Diddy is he's alive. So anything that he has done, if he does any more things, he can go to trial. He can go back to prison. He might have to pay restitution, et cetera, et cetera. But nobody in the Michael Jackson cases has that ability.
Yeah.
Statute of limitations have already passed. I don't know if the statute of limitations on like civil suits that you could set against someone, but at this point that would be very difficult for them to pursue legally. So it's like the media will just latch on to something that they think is going to ruffle people's feathers and get traction.
In other words, which leads to my next point, this was rage bait.
Mm-hmm.
This was just rage bait. And honestly, fair enough. We took it. We took the bait. I just got finished ranting. I'm sweating. It is sweltering in this heat, in this summer Brooklyn heat. I am sweating, enraged about the fucking hypocrisy of this whole thing. And I fell victim to it. I fell victim to the rage bait. This documentary is nothing but rage bait. Like, that's all this is. This was created to elicit a response, to be a part of some conversation. Is it good conversation? Is it artistic conversation? Is it creative conversation? No, it's negative fucking conversation. And the people who love Michael will come out and bash the shit out of this documentary. Mm-hmm. The people who feel that Michael got away with whatever he got away with will come out and say, oh, this is so enlightening. The people who are objective right down the middle will probably say the same thing that I said, which is this shit has no new information. Mm-hmm. This information is already available, has been covered to death from top to bottom, in and out, from tips to taint. Like, it's already there. So then what is the point? And the point is just fucking for reaction.
Yeah, I mean, there's a reason it came out so quickly after the biopic.
So close to the biopic, too.
Because the fact that you gotta strike while the iron's hot. We have this movie. The movie has done very well in theaters, sold out, like made a lot of money. Mm-hmm. They were able to lob on to some of the critiques that people made regarding his allegations and making this movie on him and how that appears to the fans, et cetera, et cetera. And so you put the movie, The Verdict, out. And that's going to get people watching, and anyone who felt frustrated and or annoyed about the movie is going to be able to be vindicated, because you can say here, look, I knew that this man was terrible, and I feel vindicated that, we can once again look at Michael Jackson and say, this is a bad guy,
The Michael biopic, by the way, second highest grossing movie of 2026.
Unsurprising.
So far. Obviously behind Super Mario Galaxy movie, because it has over $1 billion worldwide. Michael has made $888 million worldwide.
That's not surprising.
That's incredible. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I guarantee you, I would bet my own balls that if the Michael biopic was garbage and didn't do well, didn't sell out, didn't make any money, I guarantee you that this documentary never would have come out.
So I have a question for you.
Or at the very least, it probably would have came out in 20 more years when we decide that we want to re-examine the same thing that we re-examined. Fucking stupid.
I have a question, though.
Sure.
So, do you think that we've watched the Diddy doc?
Sure.
Have you watched Surviving R. Kelly?
Yes. Okay. Did we watch it? No, I might have. Separately. Yeah, I think we watched it separately.
There hasn't been anyone specifically on Cosby, but let's just say Diddy and R. Kelly, because those are the biggest artists from our lifetime that we resonated with, etc.
Yeah, I wouldn't say they're the same tier of musician, but
like a part
within a certain section, they are icons in and of themselves.
Yeah, they're
especially
black
within the black diaspora of music.
We know they're extremely talented.
Sure,
they're very good at what they've done,
sure,
etc. Do you see a difference in your response to when things come out about them compared to your response when things come out about Michael Jackson?
You mean just documentaries?
Documentaries like the documentaries. Would you feel as is the annoyance you feel about this because Michael is dead, or is it because you love Michael and you don't necessarily want to keep seeing things that are negative about him coming out?
It's a mixture of a few things. I don't think it's that binary. You know what I mean? Yes, there is a level of my annoyance that comes out because the motherfucker is dead. Mm-hmm. MJ is dead. Michael Jackson is dead. He's dead. He's long gone. He's no longer here. He's worm shit at this point. Which should probably speak to my love of Michael Jackson. to describe him as worm shit. Anyhow, no, like on one level, it's for me, the dude's dead. You know what I mean? Diddy, R. Kelly, sure, they're comparable icons within the black musical spheres. They're alive. You know what I mean? They are alive. What they did, they can be held accountable. If new information comes out that exposes or enlightens what they may have done in the past, they are still alive and they are still here to be held accountable. Okay? MJ is not. So if any new information comes out about MJ, which, again, as I've said, this documentary does not shed any new information on, he can't be held accountable. And next, I go into each documentary, any documentary, with a level of, like, you know, curiosity, but I try to be as objective as I possibly can. With this one, I also went in not as like a fan of MJ or a person who grew up with his music. Yeah, that is in there too. But I did my best and tried my best to come at it with like a level of objectivity, not trying to be on one side or the other. I was willing to hear the information that was presented to me and hear it honestly. You know what I mean? And I found the information that was provided in this documentary wanting, which led me to feel the way that I feel. You know? Yeah, documentary, the way you're making me feel.
One documentary or one YouTuber that I think did a really good job, what's his name?
Jay Wisdom.
Jay Wisdom. And so if you don't watch Jay Wisdom's videos, he does like these deep dive psychological breakdowns. From what I can ascertain, he is not a doctor.
No.
He's no Cheyenne Bryant.
So again, so they might be the same.
Oh, well, true. Same credentials as her.
Sure.
He's not a doctor or anything. He just seems to be someone who has spent a lot of time learning and studying psychology on his own.
Sure.
And then he takes what the information and brings it into whoever he's talking about.
Yes.
He did a breakdown of Michael Jackson, which I thought was really good because he both within it, he breaks down his general psychology of how he got to where he was and did like discussed what the psychology would have been if he's innocent and say he's guilty. And I thought those were really good.
Yeah. I felt like that was more balanced than the Michael Jackson, the verdict doc.
Because I think the thing about Michael Jackson that I have always felt is this, like, I've always felt this duality of like whether I think he's guilty or not. And I've thought about it in two ways. That either he is someone who is this quintessential Peter Pan, has Peter Pan syndrome.
Sure.
Where they have been so traumatized and unable to grow up and unable to like get past certain like markers that they will stay forever like a man-child, right? And that he was seeing life through a lens of this childlike wonder and all of that, and that's what was influencing his decisions. On the other hand, I think of if he was guilty and he was using that to manipulate people, right? Because we have stories of other celebrities who talk about like when they met him, maybe his voice was a little deeper or he was a lot more like rah-rah and very different from this outward persona. So I'm like, who knows which one was the true Michael? And if that's the case, then maybe he did have more understanding of like the world and wasn't so affected by his life earlier that he never like grew up. And so it's very possible that he used his persona and his fame and his money and etc. to lure people into his life, who at this point I could say I honestly do not know. But fuck, my brain just glitched in real time.
That'll happen.
What did I start at? The top? What was I talking about? Jay Smooth, breaking it down. Yes. So
Jay Smooth, Jay Wisdom.
Jay Wisdom. Yes. Those breakdowns I thought were really good of because he was pulling out like psychology terms and bringing out quotes from people that I feel like matched a lot of things. And that was really interesting. Mm-hmm. And I think it's one of those situations where everybody for themselves has to decide whether or not they want to still, what is it called? Listen to Michael Jackson. If they still want to have him be a part of their discography, you want to be a part of, still have him as part of the legacy that he had, all those things. But I do want there to be more, if there's going to be another documentary, something that's actually more interesting and illuminating, not just going over the same stories that we've gone over for the past 20 something years.
For me, okay, so I'm going to put it this way. When it comes to, people's musical tastes, like I try not to judge where people land when it comes to Michael Jackson. Mm-hmm. There are some people who have literally said, I can't listen to Michael Jackson's music anymore. For sure. And I understand that. There are some people who still bump his music like rah, rah, loud and proud, no matter where they go. I understand that too. Me, I'm probably somewhere in the middle. Like I don't make it like in heavy rotation when I'm around people and I have to sort of like test the water to see like if this is something that people would be interested in hearing in the background. Mm-hmm. But like for me personally, yeah, I still listen to his music, It's because ultimately it is different from, say, an R. Kelly. Because, turns out R. Kelly was literally, like, making music that was super indistinguishable from the actions that he was taking and found guilty of. That's another point that I'll get into in a couple of minutes. And two, like, he was ultimately, found guilty, and there's all this evidence and all these corroborating people and, all this long list of actual victims, not just alleged victims, just alleged victims and actual victims, to the point where, like, I literally, anytime we're out and I hear an R. Kelly song, it makes me feel uncomfortable. Yeah. Because I can't separate that from like his music. He is embedded in his music. His actions, his crimes are embedded deeply in his music, in the themes of his music, in the lyrics of his music. You know what I mean? The same, honestly, cannot necessarily be said about Michael Jackson.
Well, this is what I think.
I could see how someone could make an argument about it. Maybe for me, it doesn't, because all I hear is a motherfucker who is saying, leave me alone. Stop pressuring me. This makes me want to scream, All I want to say is that they don't really care about us. Like shit like that. Billie Jean is not my lover. I also don't think those children of his are his. Anyhow, but that's neither here nor there. Continue.
I think that at the end of the day, we are all hypocrites, right? Because
sure.
When an R. Kelly song comes on, I will stop dancing. Like, that's just, my friends know that. They like to laugh at me about it. Like, I'm not dancing. I'm going to boo the DJ. And I'm going to get off the dance floor. I'm going to find something else to do, right? For whatever reason, I cannot pinpoint it. There's some parts about R. Kelly and, like, Diddy's actions that I feel more intrinsically. So I think I'm like, hell yeah. Like, it's easier for me to cut them off. I don't know what it is about Michael Jackson's cases. I don't know whether it's just like growing up with the case and being conflicted from what was coming out of these trials and the different stories that have come out years later and the back and forth. I don't know if it feels because he was so like integral to our childhood and music that I have like a blind spot in my head for him. I don't know. Because for me, I both feel when I hear his music, I like feel one part joy, one part cringe.
Mm-hmm.
He's someone where I could see myself dancing to the music at home, but not wanting to play his music in a wider space.
Mm-hmm.
But like I said, I think we are all hypocrites because there's that as much as we might have thoughts and feelings about abusers and like what is right and what is wrong, there might be a person or two that when it comes down to it, maybe you're giving a little bit more of a chance to than someone else that you didn't really care about as much. So it's easier to kind of throw them away. I don't know. But I do think that there is an obsession that our society has with Michael Jackson, both for the good and the bad, that I don't think is going to evaporate. And it's going to still be in the next 10 years. I sure think we could probably get a documentary if somebody decides to write a book at the end of their life, and whatever, regardless of whether it's verified or not, people are going to read it and watch the documentary that comes out of that. Like, it's never going to stop.
No, it's never going to stop. Because Michael Jackson is, in human history, not even just like, present history or what have you, but in human history, he's a generational talent.
Yeah, a generational talent.
He's an iconic figure world over. Like,
he did things in music that nobody has ever or will ever be able to do.
He's achieved so much in the relatively short amount of time. Mm-hmm. And this is not to downplay the things that had occurred in his life and the things that he was accused of and went to court for and was found not guilty for. But I understand how, because he is a world-renowned figure in human history, that this stuff, these allegations, this trial will always be linked forever throughout perpetuity to his legacy, I guess the ultimate thing is whether or not, in the grand scheme of human history, in the grand scheme of this generation and the next generation and the following generations to come, where this falls in his legacy overall. Like, is this a thing of this is equal parts a part of his legacy? Is it a footnote? Is it like the thing that overshadows and undoes all of the things that he achieved and everything that he created and put out into the world and all of the talent? Who knows? But right now, I think with the creation of the biopic and the reception that general audiences have had to the biopic, versus the reactions and the reception that this documentary has had, because the documentary has been generally mixed to like negative.
Yeah.
The biopic was critics have been like mixed, but audiences scored it, loved it, appreciated it, So like, ultimately, I don't know where this documentary falls in first off, I know where this documentary falls. It falls nowhere. This is a bullshit documentary cash grab on Netflix's part. Shame on you, Netflix. You're a fucking whore. But in the grand scheme of Michael Jackson's legacy, where this trial ultimately lands, who's to say? Who knows? On a long enough timeline, I guess we'll find out. Or maybe we won't. We'll probably be gone by the time it all shakes out.
I think that this trial, this part of that last 20 or so years of his life, definitely not going to be a footnote. I think that it's always going to be connected to him. People are always going to be talking about it. But it also makes me think of, like, you mentioned Elvis Presley, but we also have to think about, like, Marvin Gaye and David Bowie and the slew of other influential and popular music artists that we know have not even just allegations, but verified things that they did when it comes to abuse and abuse of younger girls that have been out, and they've been out for years. They've been coming across the timeline. People have been talking about it. It's been in books, etc. And that hasn't changed the fact that we still hear them everywhere. We still see them everywhere. I think that it's not going to change in Michael Jackson's case, mainly because our society does not care if you are abusing children, if you're abusing women, like if you are a terrible, horrible person who's done the worst things imaginable. In general, do not care. If you are a person who makes something that people enjoy, like, that's pretty much it. You have to have, like, documented, on video, tape, written down, verified instances for us as a society to get you out of here.
And even that's not true, because you can have something like, say, I don't know, a list.
You can.
And still people are around.
That's true.
Anyhow, I guess
it's a paradoxical society where bullshit happens, and in some cases, bullshit happens, and justice is actually served, and we read those people their rights, and we throw them into the ether where they belong. And then on the other side, shit's just allowed to happen. You can do whatever the fuck you want because you have money and power, and nobody really truly cares.
I wouldn't even necessarily call this justice, because, again, like, Michael Jackson is dead. He's
well, no, I'm
gone.
not talking about justice for him. I mean justice in general.
Just in general. Okay, yeah. I see what you're saying. I see what you're saying.
He can never get justice. He's not here. I think the only people who are impacted by his loss of legacy will be his siblings and his children. Mm-hmm. That would be the only people. So, like, at this point,
which, again, I don't think that.
If you are supporting the Jackson legacy, you're just supporting the surviving Jackson family members right now and their generational wealth. So that's up to you to decide, do I want to do that or not? Mm-hmm. But, at the end of the day, his children, whether or not they are biologically his, they're still his, because an adopted child is yours. So whether we don't know how they came to be, we know that Paris looks a lot like her mother. So we know that's who she is. Who their biological father is, who knows? Okay, but at the end of the day, Michael Jackson claimed him as their children, as his child, as his children. So those are his kids, Sure. And if one day they decide to do an ancestry and leak it so we can really and truly know, I won't be mad at them.
I would love nothing more than to bear witness.
I do
to that, because
it's been an age-old question. Because at the end of the day, the Jacksons have very strong features.
Yes,
so it doesn't matter whether you're really, really light skinned or you're darker. Most of the family
none of them look like Joe or Tito or Jermaine,
and that's the question.
Like, even Kata kind of resembles you in some ways. I think, like, the head shape. But
stuff. You know what? At the end of the day,
the eyebrows.
His children are always going to bear the brunt of his legacy.
Sure.
All the good and the bad. They're the ones, his children and the other people involved, who the alleged victims in the court cases, are the ones I think about, because there are some of them that have made it clear they wanted no parts in anything. And some of them who didn't. But at the end of the day, every single time something like this comes up, your family's going to be harassed, you're going to be harassed, and you'll be potentially bringing up a dark part of your history, whether it was coerced or it happened, whatever the case may be. Like, you just want to just let things go so you can move on. And this society will never let these people move on. They'll never let the victims nor his children be able to live in peace because of what their father did.
Ultimately, at the end of the day, how many snurds would you rate this? 1 being terrible and don't watch this, and do we usually do 5? 1 out of 5 or 1 out of 10?
I feel like we've been oscillating.
Yeah, we should probably nail that down.
Which one do you want to do?
Almost doing 200 of these fucking episodes.
I know. We'll stamp it. After this, do you
moving forward,
1 out of 10 or 1 out of 5?
There's a part of me that me and my dad do like 1 out of 5.
All right, let's do 1 out of 5.
All right, yeah.
I'll give it
from. Let me ask you it clean. Having watched the Netflix Michael Jackson The Verdict documentary, how many snurds out of 5 would you give this? 1 being not good, don't recommend. 5 being the best thing, definitely recommend. Where would you rate this?
I'll give it a 3.
Interesting. Why?
It's not terrible, but also it's not illuminating. It just it brought up things that I had watched in the past about it. So it was like, it gave me some things to think about, but overall, I didn't learn anything new. I wasn't shocked by anything. All these things we've heard and read about over the years. And I thought they could have had a few more interviews to balance it out. But, not terrible. It's a 3. Yeah. They got a wide range of folks. They got some of the jurors and the fans. So they did a kind of good job on that, but a 3.
Sure. I give this a 1. Straight up a waste of my time. It was a waste of 3 hours. The only good that came out of watching that documentary is that I got to enjoy doing this podcast with you to discuss how much this episode of not my episode, but doing this episode was fun. Yeah. Watching it for this episode was a horrible waste of 3 hours. I could have been doing anything else. I could have been watching anything else. I didn't learn anything new. I didn't come out of it feeling like I have a new perspective. If anything, this is an actively cynical cash grabby thing, which makes me not respect Netflix, not respect the people who made the documentary, not respect the fact that they did this so close to Michael Jackson's death anniversary.
Oh, they did, yes, it's coming up.
Not respect the fact that they did this to feed off of the popularity of the Michael Jackson biopic. I don't respect anything about Netflix and Michael Jackson, The Verdict, and the creators of the documentary for doing this. If you make something that makes me actively dislike the thing that you created and dislike the people behind it and dislike the company that made this possible, guess what? You get a 1 fucking snurd from me. Not recommending this to anybody else.
So, would you say about this documentary that it was...
That is a little bit upsetting.
No, it was more than that. It was a lot of bit upsetting. It was the a lot. I see what you did, and I appreciate it. But that's everything for this bonus episode of the Black and Snurdy podcast. We will be back with more of the proper episodes of the main Black and Snurdy podcast. Until then, take it easy, keep it sleazy. I'm Mo, aka Kid Licorish.
And I'm Odie.
And we are the Black and Snurdy podcast. Bye!
Thanks for listening, nerds.
Keep the show growing. Listen, comment, and download on Spotify and Apple Podcasts, or watch full episodes on YouTube.
Follow the show at Black and Sturdy.
Follow me at Licorish is Legit.
Find me at that'sod_e on Twitter and at that'sod.e on Instagram.
This is the Black and Nerdy Podcast,
where nerds of a feather flock together.